Available in paperback at e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. My new book, Isis, Dark Incubus, is now available in paperback and e-readers, and this is a book you definitely want to pick up because this book is an entry point for new readers into the Isis series. Now, I have written over 20 Isis series books, and this book will be a jumping on point for a new reader because this book basically starts the third story arc of the Isis series. Now, the two previous story arcs started with Amari's Revenge and ended with All About the Goddess for the first story arc, and the second story arc started with Wrath of the Cyber Goddess and ended with Isis Legacy. And this third story arc continues to show how the goddess next door is learning all about life in the 21st century, and as she starts to learn more about life in the 21st century, we learn about how she is dealing with all of the issues she has as related to dating and relationships. Now, I wrote Isis Dark Incubus because I wanted to make a commentary on white supremacy's impact on black women and why they have a hard time being able to love black men in the black community. Because the long-term impact of white supremacy on the black female mind is one of the reasons why many sisters wind up being single and wind up putting up an emotional wall that keeps them from being able to get close to black men who want to love them. But the problem is because these women have been indoctrinated into white supremacy, they don't love themselves, and because they've been indoctrinated into white supremacy, they can't love themselves to be able to share love with a black man. And that's what Isis is dealing with over the course of the story of Dark Incubus. She's dealing with the trauma she endured when she came to America and got indoctrinated into the American culture of white supremacy. And as she got indoctrinated into this culture of white supremacy, as she got married to her first husband, Joe Robinson, what happened was, as she got to love Joe Robinson, what happened was she wound up seeing her husband lynched by the Ku Klux Klan in the 1880s, and that trauma basically wound up staying with Isis for over 150 years and made it where she was incapable of looking to even want to pursue a relationship with a black man because she feared that that black man would wind up dying at the hands of either a racist white supremacist group like the Ku Klux Klan, like her husband did when he was lynched and her baby was killed, or that man would wind up losing his life in the North to multiple threats, whether it be a white racist or a black person who was filled with self-hatred and anger towards a black man. So because she feared losing another man, she didn't want to pursue relationships with men for over 150 years. So the Isis character is dealing with that kind of trauma, and that trauma was meant to make a commentary on the trauma that many black women deal with as related to the foundation for her not being able to love a black man. And that fear of loving a black man is what keeps many sisters from being able to get close to a black man, because she fears that if she gets close to that black man may possibly wind up being taken from her. That's what really inspired me to write the story of Isis Dark Incubus, which is a companion to the 2019 story that I did with the John Haynes series, John Haynes Dark Succubus, because with the John Haynes story Dark Succubus, I wanted to show how John Haynes was dealing with issues as related to his own love life and his ability to the fears that it was keeping him from getting closer to esteem. So with that story, I wanted to make that commentary about black love. And with Dark Incubus, I wanted to make a commentary on black love as related to the black woman, the same way I wanted to make a commentary about black love as related to the black man. So with the ISIS story, Dark Incubus, what I wanted to do was really talk in depth about black women and their inability to get close to black men because of all the trauma they endured, and this trauma that sisters have endured from the days of slavery that was passed on over the last 150 years with Jim Crow and the racism that they currently deal with. This really, again, creates an emotional wall between black women and black men and really prevents black women and black men from getting close to each other. And this is a subject that many people really don't talk about, but I wanted to talk about it in depth. And I wanted to talk about it in depth between the pages of ISIS, Dark Incubus, and because I want to see sisters start to heal, and I want to see sisters wind up breaking down this emotional wall and get closer to black men. Because this emotional wall is one of the reasons why many sisters, once they start a relationship with a black man, really can't get close to that brother the way they want, and unconsciously they start doing things to self-sabotage their relationships because they're afraid of this man being taken away from them. They're afraid of this man losing his life, and they're afraid of losing this man, so they keep their distance from that man, and that distance is the thing that keeps a lot of sisters from finding that love that allows them to bond with a man. And that's something that really hurts our sisters, and I wanted to really talk about this in depth because the way black women have been taught to love men really is dysfunctional, because instead of learning how to love a man based on God's love of us, what we learn is fear. And this is what we have learned ever since the days of slavery. A lot of black women have learned to be afraid as related to love and not have the faith that Christ has given us as related to his love, because Christ's love is based on faith. Christ's love is based on us coming together and trusting in him, and trusting in him to give us a partner that we can be together with, and trusting that he knows the best for us and wants to give us that partner that we can share love with as part of his order. That's what God wants to give people as related to love, but the whole thing is many black women never achieve this because they have been taught fear by the system of white supremacy. They have been taught fear by this system, and even worse, they have passed this fear on to their sons, and this fear creates an emotional wall between both the black man and the black woman that really prevents them from creating and connecting with soul ties and coming together. That is the fear that we are taught, and it's that fear that drives a lot of black women to get involved with toxic men, and that's what I show over the course of this ISIS story as ISIS gets involved with this guy, Keith the Incubus. She gets involved with him based primarily on the fear, and she gets caught up with him based on fear, and that fear is the thing that leads to her getting enthralled in this entanglement with this incubus. Now, as I write this story, again, I wanted to make that commentary on black love, and I have been building up all the points in this storyline ever since Wrath of the Cyber Goddess, when Isis met John Haynes. And the relationship between Isis and John Haynes is a major part of this story as related to making that commentary on love and making that commentary on making those steps towards healing, because a lot of our sisters, we really need to understand that the system of white supremacy is all about keeping you afraid, and again, keeping you afraid by demonizing the black man, making him the bad guy, making him the villain and a threat, so that you won't get close to that man. And instead of you getting close to that man and bonding with that man to share a black love, you wind up in this world of self-hatred, in a codependent relationship in white supremacy, and never really growing to achieve God's love that He wants to share with you. That's what happens to many of our sisters, and that's something I go in depth in Isis Dark Incubus. I go in depth as related to the issues our sisters have as related to loving black men, and the issues that keep our sisters from being able to love a black man and get close to a black man. I mean, I was really passionate about this story when I put my fingers to the keyboard. I mean, I remember getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to write this story because I just had so much love for black women as I was writing this story. And I put my fingers to the keyboard for this story because I wanted to really make that powerful commentary about our sisters and getting them to start the healing process. And I want them to start that healing process because, again, when it comes to our sisters, they get told that they are ugly and unattractive because of the system of white supremacy. They get told that their men are no good. They think that there's nobody who loves them. But the whole thing is, there is a God who loves you. He created you to be perfect, and you are made in the image of God, and His image is perfect. But our sisters don't understand this because a lot of our sisters, like Isis, were traveling in America and the West and learning about the system of white supremacy. And as they get indoctrinated into that system, they learn self-hatred, and that self-hatred really keeps them from being able to live the abundant life that the Most High puts in His gospel. And He wants you to live that abundant life, and part of living that abundant life is learning to love yourself and learning that there are black men who love black women and love black women to the point where they want to see you do well. There are brothers out here who want to love you, but many of our sisters can't see those brothers because of the fear that they have, and this is how they get enthralled in entanglements with these kinds of demons like an incubus, a demon who wants to basically corrupt a woman's soul and take away her smile. And the whole point of a woman's smile, really, it comes down to her spirit, because a woman's spirit is where she has peace. And that's another part of the commentary I make in Dark Incubus about a woman's smile being important, because that's where she has that joy in her heart. And what these demonic men like an incubus want to do is corrupt a woman's soul, because when a woman gets with a man and the two of them become one, what happens is that woman can wind up becoming corrupted, and as her soul gets corrupted, what happens is she could wind up losing the part of herself that has that spiritual joy and peace. And when she loses that, she cannot really connect and bond with a man because she's been bonded with a demon. And that is the threat to Isis in this story, that she's dealing with the threat of this demon, similar to what happened with John Haynes in Dark Succubus, because in Dark Succubus, John Haynes was dealing with a demon who was basically looking to tempt him to make him walk away from the abundant life that the Most High had given him. So with this story, I wanted to show the flip side to this and how these demons basically go out here and tempt men and women, and how those demons work towards corrupting the soul of a person. I mean, that's what I wanted to do with this book, which is a companion to 2019's John Haynes Dark Succubus, is show you how the incubus goes out here and looks to seduce and corrupt women the same way that the succubus looks to corrupt and destroy the soul of men. So with both of these books, I wanted them to be companions to each other. And this book that kicks off the third story arc of the Isis series is a big one in Isis's life. And it's a big book overall because this story is over 150 pages. And with this book being over 150 pages, it is one of the largest books in the Isis series, next to Imitation of Life and 2002's Isis. So this one is a nice, good, long read, and I made it where it's again, all ages family friendly book where you can go out here and share this book with your friends and family. And this action-packed fantasy fiction story where the goddess next door gets enthralled in this entanglement with this evil incubus, this is designed to kick off the third story arc of the Isis series. and really go in depth on a subject that many people don't want to talk about as related to black love, because one of the reasons why we have so many issues with black love is we don't want to talk about black on black love. Many black men believe black on black love is dead, and many sisters really don't see any love coming from the brothers. But the whole thing is, the reason why we don't have love in our community is white supremacy, and we have to do what ISIS does in this story and fight to preserve black love. That's the core theme of this story. It's all about ISIS learning how to love again so that she can go out here and share love with all the people in the community. And that's what I want to do with this story, is share love with all the brothers and sisters in the community. With this fantasy story, I really want to start the healing process, because white supremacy has done a number on the black woman's mind, and as they've done this damage to the black woman's mind, it has really messed up black women's moral position, and that's why the race is in a bad direction right now. But I want to show how much I love black women by writing this story. I mean, I really wanted to show how much I love black women, because for me, I see so many sisters who talk about getting a man, but the thing that's keeping them from getting a man and having a relationship with a husband is the fact that they don't love themselves. And since they don't love themselves, they're afraid to get close to a man, and we have to replace that fear with faith. And that's what I try to do with this story of Isis, Dark Incubus, is show you how Isis's relationships, really, she has to work on herself and work on healing herself. And that's what the whole John Haynes story arc really was all about. It was about helping the Isis character learn how to heal as related to her whole idea and perception of men, and help her to understand that she needs to overcome these fears, because these fears were keeping her from growing in Christ and keeping her from growing as a person. And again, this was a lesson that I wanted to show the Isis character learning as related to life, because when I created the Isis character for the Isis series, it was all about her learning about life in the world in the 21st century. And I'd like to think a component of life in the 21st century is learning how to love black men and see black men as they truly are. I mean, it's about black women healing themselves, learning that there is a black man who loves them, black men who care about them, black men who want to have relationships with them. But the whole thing is, you have to break down this emotional wall created by the fear white supremacy has instilled in the black woman's mind, if that black woman wants to achieve that love and discover that love. This is how you break that bond. And again, this is what this story is all about. And this is why I'm so passionate about this story as related to kicking off the third story arc, because I want to see sisters grow. I want to see sisters actualize their potential and live the abundant life that Jesus provides for us. I want to see our sisters really start to heal and grow. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this commentary in between the lines of this fantasy, because so many sisters miss out on that abundant life as related to God that He wants to provide for them, because they don't have love, and they miss out on the love that they could have with black men that many other generations have enjoyed. And I really wanted this one, again, this is a story I'm really, it's one that means a lot to me, because I look at our sisters and I want them to achieve the beauty of love and find that love. Again, black women, they have been affected by the system of white supremacy, and it affects the way they see themselves. And I want to show a different picture of black love with Dark Incubus that starts sisters on the road to healing and finding really true love with black men. Now, you can pick up your copy of Isis Dark Incubus on Amazon.com in paperback right now, or you can get a digital version of it on the Kindle, and you can also get digital versions of Isis Dark Incubus at Google Play, Draft to Digital, the iBookstore, Barnes & Noble, Radican Kobo, and all digital online booksellers. And you can also get Isis Dark Incubus in paperback at many online booksellers like Barnes & Noble and even some big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me be able to make more positive fantasy fiction like the Isis series, because it's your donations that allow me to get be able to pay artists like Bill Walko to design the cover for the Isis Dark Incubus and many of the other covers on the SJS Direct imprint, you can go and support the channel to help me to be able to pay for covers and pin-up art that I have put in Isis Dark Incubus to try to inspire people to see the beauty of black women. You can help out by going and dropping a donation to the PayPal, the Cash App, or the Patreon, and 100% of that money is used to be able to pay for the covers and the art on SJS Direct Publications, and also be able to go out here and support other independent creators and get the word out about their work. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and coming to Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes' Dark Succubus. The man who rules the world is tempted by a sultry succubus in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes' Dark Succubus in paperback or pre-order on Kindle Unlimited today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.